Alrighty, we're back, we're all good. Very, very quick restart, but we're still back into the game. Do not fret, the map is still going on, and we haven't missed a difficult part of the map just yet. It's still worth the char play with that ginormous combo. Only Flying Tuna with 600 combo as well. 450k, 450 score combo from Hyok. Franklin's the page also on recoveries. USA are starting to build now, but Decaden another slip up there. And as we get into the final third of the map here, it's starting to get more and more dire for the USA as that gain from South Korea comes all but too one-sided at this point.
Yeah, this is the one-sided outcome that I think, unfortunately, you just anticipate on this skill set in this matchup. It happened last week multiple times, and it looks like it may be happening here again. This Korean roster just so dominant on the raw aim, despite the best efforts of several members of the United States to build back up. There's matching combo on Page, there's matching combo on Hyok. And this is going to be a quite one-sided first point on the board for South Korea. A very good second pick into this hidden one, working out exactly as they would have hoped for it to do.
Yeah, damn straight. Korea showing why they are the strongest AIM team on the planet for now. Hyok, Fragrance Page, and Wazir Chaplay all collectively with such domineering scores. Flying Tuna as well, joining back, you know, always known to be so incredibly flexible. He can carry on just about anything, and this one being no exception. Not a single score of the United States able to eclipse the top three of Korea. And Hyok, the only lower score of Utami, only by less than 20,000 score. It is a very domineering team difference, and I can't help but blame that potential struggle on the early start for the United States, not able to get a good combo to start this off. Might have been a bit of their downfall in this one.
And I mean, this is just kind of something that has always happened while the United States has been at the top of OWC. They've never been a team to like these aim maps, and that especially reigns true up against a South Korea team that is so dominant on that skill set. I think they're going to want to keep picking into that, and they've still got a lot of maps to do so. But now pick back to the United States. They already got the Nomad 5 out of the way, and they're already up a breakpoint. So the question now for the United States is, if you're already up the breakpoint, do you go for a more contested pick earlier, or do you continue that train down the mechanics path? And they still have that DT2 wide open for them, and they're just going to go right on ahead and pick it. Unmei do Dark Side. We've got a real stamina map here, folks.
It is, I think, the most obvious pick in the pool at this juncture of the match. 240 BPM, pure stamina at 8.5 stars for 2.5 minutes of seemingly unending streams. And this was always going to be a map the United States picked into. And I think in this match, you just want to always pick the best map available. You don't want to get cute and give a breakpoint away early on when you have that advantage. If you're the United States, you want to put the pedal to the floor, because if you give this South Korean team any sort of wiggle room, they can come right back, get the breakpoint back, and take the lead before you know what hit you. So United States, just Nomad 5, DT2, pick your strengths early and often.
Yep, this map is a custom map by Sanch KK. Spin to win difficulty. This song, if you remember the Kudu Kudu Hidden 2 from last year, I believe this is the exact same source. So we've got that, but in the opposite skill set now, going from AR8 Hidden to Stamina on a different song of the same source. But yeah, this song was not played last night against Australia, USA opting to ban it out against that speed roster. So this one, I think you expect to see Window Life come in for the USA, that speed player extraordinaire on that side, probably to be joined by Rectigon, Utami, and I would say Pez, because Pez did come in for the free mod 4 last night for USA. For South Korea, we're going to get to see Karcher step into the lobby, I believe, for the first time since the first map of the match.
Yeah, it is going to be a little bit of a change up here of rosters, going to a quite different skill set. But again, the United States rolling out the Utami, Rectigon, Takedo, which is such a strong core. And Window Life, we talked about, you know, could be an X factor for this roster with his incredibly high skill cap and amazing ability on the tapping maps, as well as other picks that not always get associated with him. Meanwhile, Doomsday Fanboy coming in for South Korea, joining, as mentioned, Karcher, Flying Tuna, Fragrance of Page. United States looking to preserve this breakpoint advantage and take a 3-1 lead, while South Korea has their sights set on getting that breakpoint back as early as possible in this match.
This time, your signature tapping players, your tapping staples, your mechanic staples of Korea coming in here to fill those top 2 slots in Doomsday Fanboy and Karcher. Karcher being a veteran Doomsday Fanboy previously have played in 2022 and was an instrumental member of their tapping roster here for Korea. Looking to try and get that breakpoint onto USA and even out the playing field and make it 2-2. This one being what Korea believed to be the most accessible for them. But so far, it's an early miss here from both the tapping players of Korea. Fragrance of Page and Flying Tuna still holding on to their combos with only Taquito to have traded the United States. But we're very early days into it. But look at these stream patterns. Look at the flow aim here. Not only is the tapping a test, but some of these aim patterns are so slight, so nuanced, but yet so difficult. As another double miss from the 2 bottom players of South Korea. And now it's a complete reset effectively. Utami, Rectagon, and Window Life still keep their combos intact, and we're starting to get into the stamina sections now. These chain cuts are so brutal. The stamina still tests you so immensely, and it seems like USA are mopping the floor with it so far. Rectagon may go down, but it's still Utami and Window Life to keep those combos going into the next half of the map.
Yeah, we head into the second half with the United States holding a pretty decent lead, but the combo building up on South Korea. You have Doomsday Fanboy Karcher recovering from the early breaks, and Tuna and Fragrance of Page as well. So this one by no means out of reach as Karcher finds another break. It's looking at Utami and Window Life here, the instrumental members through these incredibly challenging flow patterns, and everybody in the lobby hits except for Tuna. And down goes Doomsday Fanboy, down goes Karcher. And that might have just done it for South Korea's chances on this map.
Yeah, last nail on the coffin, 100% locked down now for South Korea, as Utami and Window Life still destroying these patterns. And as we get into the rotational bits, this is a lot of finger control and a lot of difficulty in here, but generally, it doesn't seem to mean much here for the 2 remaining members of the USA with the combos intact. Utami and Window Life are tearing this map to pieces, especially from Window Life. That accuracy absurd. The speed specialist of the United States turned into a well-versed superstar throughout this tournament still shows the world why he's one of the best tapping players on the planet. And part of the reasons why USA are so damn fed on this speed, it's a full combo for Window Life and Utami.
The double FC 3.5 million team score, a whitewash of a match, 1.2 million score difference between the teams. South Korea had to leave some sort of speed up in this map pool no matter what, but man, they're going to be made to regret it and then some by this United States speed roster that is among the elite of the elite.
Now, I know the United States won the free mod 4 speed map against Australia last night, but with a score like that, it makes you wonder, like, if you can put up 3.5 million, that is absolutely absurd. I would take my chances on that with Australia any day on this, but here we go now. United States still up 3-1. Now, I think 2 most obvious speed maps in the pool out-picked for them. South Korea back in their ballpark, able to pick aim once again now if they want to. Got lots of options here. The double time one is one that Australia won against the United States last night. The free mod one, I think, is the most similar to the hidden one, but that is a pick that United States did win last night. Of all the aim maps, that was their final pick to force the tiebreaker. So maybe not sure if you want to pick that one, but it's going to be the hidden 3. Okay, this is not one that I was expecting. We're going back to the tech here for South Korea. And this is a map that United States looked very consistent on yesterday, getting, I think, every single member between 430k or so to 600k. Window Life surprisingly being the top score for United States. But hidden tech, I think, for South Korea, this is a skill set where if you want to win this match, you have to pick this eventually.
Yeah, this is such a good skill set for South Korea. I think regardless of what kind of score the United States set last night, as mentioned, it was a 1.8 million team score. 583 top score from Window Life, dropping down a bit to their bottom score on Kama at 329k. South Korea's got 2 million on this map in their minds. I think you've got to have your sights set pretty high as that roster. So good at hidden, so good at tech, so good at flow. A very, very strong roster for a map like this. One question I do have about this map, right? United States had Kama into this somewhat surprisingly. I think most of us anticipated it to be Utami. Took a few maps off, it felt like. If he's in for this, does that make a difference? Can that match up to what South Korea has to offer on a map that seems to be so in their wheelhouse as this one is?
I think they just about have to. I know Utami, to his standards, was not having the greatest of matches last night, so maybe now, having looked really good so far this match, will have the confidence to step in for this one to join that previous roster. But for South Korea, as we mentioned in years past, this has been that bread and butter skill set, the hidden tech, something they've just looked so good on. Their specialist player, worst HR player, coming in, gonna look to put out a nuclear performance on this. And we all remember Tuna, that guy back just a few years ago is one of the best tech players in the game. Coming in here, this should be a really good pick for South Korea.
And I mean, Tuna came back from being gone as though he had never left. The man derusted so quickly and rejoined the pinnacle of OSU tournament performance in practically no time. And so this does feel like a roster just with Tuna and Forum in the lobby alone. They're going to be joined, interestingly, by El Grisimo and Fragrance of Page. No Alamiya Kokoro in for this one. No Hyakin for this one. Kind of
surprising.
Yeah. Meanwhile, it is Takedo, Utami, Windowlife, and Decaton in for the United States. So we are going to see Utami in for this one today, subbing in for Kama, who was in on this yesterday, was their bottom score. We'll see what Utami can do on a map that is generally favored to South Korea.
Yeah, this is a very terrifying map here. I feel like Korea, yes, very much a strong team on this, but the United States proved some possibilities on this one and can't help but fear it, especially with Utami on that side here. I feel like a player that, honestly, people were shocked to have not seen him play last time, but with him on now, that confidence means a lot, especially from a team like the United States, where that momentum and that confidence must be high in order to take down Goliaths like South Korea. But as we get into this rapid intro section, it already hits you hard with that difficulty. You've got some of these bursts, you've got some of the control, you've got some of the snaps, and you have those sliders as well. Ooh. And it seems like South Korea are suffering here to start this off. Alec Griezmann Fragrance of Page early misses here. Flying Tuna and Wesley Char player left to hold the fort. Granted, very good accuracy so far, and Decatur and Utami do both go down. Takiro joins in the misses as well. Left Windowlife on his own. It is a trade by Flying Tuna. Wesley Char player now alone with that full combo. Still good enough accuracy, but this section can be really potent. Windowlife is still chasing the top scorer for the United States, 1,000 combo last time against Australia. Still very capable of matching that, very capable of still destroying the dreams of Korea on this map. But Wesley Char is not letting that go, and the difficulty still stands so far. Can Wesley Char keep this combo going as the back and forth jumps go through? No, they don't. It's up to Windowlife to keep the combo alive, and it's there. United States taking that lead by a good margin. Windowlife's combo alone is huge, but the supporting combo is not there.
There is no support for the United States at all. Windowlife falls into full reset. Look at the lobby. Everyone has fallen to pieces. It is Forum at 188 combo. It is Utami to match him and nothing else anywhere in the lobby. Just past halfway through, it is as though this map just entirely had the reset button pressed. As we go into the back half of the pick, the last third to be upcoming after this slower section. And it is all dead even across the board. So who can hold on to their combo the longest? Watching Utami break, and now it's Forum to carry this one for South Korea, as he has done time and time again.
Recoveries as well in their favor, keeping that lead by just a small margin, but Fragrance of Page's trade is not going to help. It's still three members of the United States taking the lead. Alec Griezmann's chain miss is disastrous, and that might just change the fate here of the United States. Alec Griezmann misses once again. It is again just like the start of this map. Flying Tuna was a Char player left to hold the fort. Takedo does get the miss though. Windowlife and Decaden have to hold. They have to keep that going, but the trade is slowly going in. But Flying Tuna's down. Utami gets the trade, but that's not the trade you want if you're Korea. You need Windowlife, Decaden to miss. Windowlife is one to go down. Decaden next. It's was a Char player enough. These back and forths are so brutal. Chain misses are a potential, but it's not enough. As the ending comes through, there's nothing left that the USA density-wise need to worry about. As long as they don't miss on air, it's done. Another breakpoint solidified for the United States on Hidden 3.
Wow.
The cinema. What a map. What a battle. What a back and forth from these teams. No one could hold in the crucial moments. And the United States, 30,000 points. And it's a double break point, 4-1 lead with their own pick to come.
Oh my goodness.
Are you kidding me?
That, it just flipped back in their favor, and it almost went back to Korea. A couple chain misses more that could have struck right back, but United States 4-1 up now. Another break point in their pocket, and they have the chance to consolidate it on their own pick. And unfortunately for them, they're out of that raw speed in the pool, but they still have maps that they're gonna like to pick here. They've got another stream map left in the Hard Rock one. That map, they narrowly lost it to Australia last night. But against this South Korean roster, I think they'll like to fancy their chances on that one again. And they also have another map that they got, honestly, a couple maps of MREC difference. in that matchup were the Hard Rock 1 and the DT4. The DT4 1 USA had a really high baseline on that. I think that's one that they're going to want to pick into South Korea soon.
DT4 feels so scary against this South Korea team, and really, you know, there's a couple of interesting things going on in this match at this point. First of all, we remember what happened the last time we saw a team with a 4-1 lead on this particular Grand Finals map pool just 24 hours ago. We do remember, before we get ahead of ourselves too much. But also, as you said, Miles, the USA starts to have their clearly defined picks really narrowed down very quickly in this matchup. But they've already proven by taking 2 break points that it might not matter. And they're going to go with the Hard Rock 2. It's going to be that super precision Hard Rock for the United States. So they skip past the Hard Rock 1, they skip past the DT4, and they say we are going circle size tiny. CS 7.8 Hard Rock for the USA.
Yeah, I mean, CS 7.8, this was the scariest pick I think I've ever seen when I saw it played last night. I mean, it only flipped back to the United States' favor from Australia off of some chain misses, and this is just such a difficult skill set to be consistent on. We've got Black Birthday mapped by +4J, a custom map, and it is just like awkward aim, just no let up for 3 minutes and 41 seconds, just relentless in the jumps. And this type of skill set is just an absolute pain to be consistent on. You need to really be good at holding your nerve. And United States, I think they're taking a little bit of a gamble with this one. The fact that they're up 2 break points already, if they can strike down a more contestable pick like this right now, it's going to look really good for their chances to force the bracket reset while they still have those 2 picks I mentioned earlier in the Hard Rock 1 and the DT4 in their back pocket. So for South Korea, this pick, it almost feels like a must-win for them.
You know, I said a few minutes ago, this United States team, they're like a freight train, man. They build up that momentum, and it's nearly impossible to stop them once they get going. If they can lock into a good mindset and lock into some good performance, they're tough to take down. We think 2 years back, the first set of that grand final, what was that, 7-1 or 7-2, right? They were on a roll, much like it feels like they could get going on today. I agree with you that this feels like it starts to be dangerous in this first set for South Korea pretty quickly if you start losing maps that it feels like you're supposed to win on paper.
Yeah, but I mean, we get to see some really strong precision players. Allegrisimo, a really strong precision player. If he has one strength, I think it might be this that I would pin on him. So South Korea, see how they do on this one.
Dangerous USA roster in for this one. Bashiman, of course. Precision specialist. Kate and Recting on Pez, the rest of the roster. Hyuk Allegrisimo, Fragrance Page, worst HR player for South Korea. This would be a huge break point for South Korea to get back, and a huge break point for the United States to convert into a second consolidation.
This freight train is soon to go out of control if Korea do not suppress the force on this one. A daunting roster from them, though. Hyuk Allegrisimo, Wesley Childley and Fragrance Page, all 4 of them very much capable of destroying on this one, particularly Allegrisimo. He was a clutch factor for Korea last year, particularly on these skill sets. And now he's got to step up once again in 2024 against arguably an even more daunting precision roster from the USA than last year. But this one is consistent quite a long of the way through. There are not really any significant difficulty spikes to note of that are out of the blue too much. It's a very consistent map and not too gimmicky of its nature. Very much on that aim with a few of those spacey bursts and a few of those longer sliders. But it is that CS stat that makes it absolutely absurd. 7.8, harder than almost any other kind of precision map you could really ask for. And in turn, it's going to lead to some very raunchy, very difficult and uncertain outcomes here. And we're already seeing a scattering of breaks here from both sides.
We are indeed. Allegrisimo breaking the biggest combo for South Korea, but Bashiman trades it back. Rectigon to fall as well. No combo really on either side. Fragrance of Page at 200. That will bring the lead over to South Korea if he can get a little bit of help. But with Hyuk and Allegrisimo resetting once more, it's going to mean continued struggles for South Korea here. Only so much Page can do with the United States building up a little combo here and there. But some more resets to come through, and this lead might just go over here. Not quite halfway through. Fragrance of Page putting in the work here, the rookie, who's been so talked up this entire tournament. doing something special here so far in this pick.
Yeah, it's a great start so far. With that mission to Kaden as well, it's going to swing that lead quite a bit for South Korea. Hyuk's recovery is also very notable. Enough to contest Boshi Mounds on the other side. The leading combo for the USA. Frangos of Page is effectively uncontested here, with the other two recoveries from Korea not far away from the reins of the United States and Pez and Rectagon. But it's still very close and very tenuous. This map's quite long, so any more misses can really count, and thankfully for Korea, it's going against the United States as Pez and Kaden are next to drop, and that score lead is starting to gain to very high margins. This map is quite long, so that score lead coming up this early is still quite very prominent, especially considering that all you have are some pretty meager combos here from both Boshi and Rectagon, but those are still a threat. If Frangos of Page falls at some point here, this might get really deadly. USA Charplay evens it out, and Frangos of Page is the fall just before the break slider, and now the coins are flipped. A collapse from both sides, but still Boshi and Hyuk to fight each other to keep their lead on both sides.
It is a virtual 1v1 and Boshi goes down. It is now Hyuk free to fly, the only combo over 200 in the lobby. And with South Korea clinging to this 160k lead, it feels like this might be the pick that gets them one of these breakpoints back. United States just not able to put anything together. And it was Fragrance of Page for quite some time, and now it's Hyuk to take over and lead them to the ending.
There's a spectacular here from Hyuk. He may miss finally. The timing is not the best for us casters here, but it doesn't really change how much of an impact that score really is. With Rectagon, Boshiman, Pez all collapsing. It's just Decaden left on his own, but that score lead is too low to overtake with little time left. Not enough as Decaden misses. It is a breakpoint solidified for South Korea. They are able to slightly slow down the freight train of the United States. Momentum stopped by just a little bit. Enough to give Korea a little bit of hope in this opening match.
Themselves some breathing room with that break point. The United States just not putting up a fantastic overall team score, and the 540k from Hyuk coming in clutch alongside the 462k from Fragrance of Page. And now Korea can get within 1 point in this set with a converted pick of their own. The advantage of getting that one break point of the two back just like that right there. Miles, South Korea next pick. You got to go back to aim, right?
Yeah, I mean, surely that's the skill set that's probably the most trustworthy in the United States, as I've been saying. But I just like to take my hat off for Hyuk once again. I mean, that's the top score of the weekend on that map. He beats Emrek's score by about 30k on that one, so very good stuff on them, getting that breakpoint back. And I know you mentioned earlier, we saw just 1 day ago a team erase a 4-1 deficit on this map pool, and now South Korea, they've gotten the first step to doing that again. And I think they could bring it back within one with an aim pick here, and I'm looking especially at the free mod 1 here. That dense aim is something that South Korea last year and this year had the advantage on against the United States. They won that map, that hidden 1 beforehand, so I think it should be a pretty good pick for them here. Otherwise, oh, but it's gonna be the Hard Rock 3. They're going back to the aim control. Cardinal Rave by Yusomi. This map is one United States defeated Australia on this one yesterday with very high baseline scores on their roster. The South Korea picking this one feels like a little bit of a coin flip.
Well, it's both teams willing to pick into those really, really contested maps, right? South Korea going the Hidden 3, United States going the Hard Rock 2, and South Korea back into this Hard Rock 3 here. And as mentioned, USA's 4 solid scores yesterday on this. It was 588k window life, 433k comma as their worst score for a 2 million team score. That's pretty solid. I don't know, the question is how much better South Korea's predicted team score is on this map than what the United States did in their match yesterday. This feels a little risky to me, but I mean, we're just going risky pick after risky pick. That's how close this matchup is.
Yeah, I mean, I think on paper, people expect this matchup to be really polarized. Like, oh yeah, United States likes this one thing, South Korea likes the other. But the truth is, there is so much overlap in the strengths between these teams. And a pick like this coming early from South Korea just proves that even more. Both these teams really like the Hard Rock. I think on paper, the Hard Rock pool is probably the most contested between these two teams. I know last year it kind of flipped back and forth between match 1 and bracket reset. Could expect that to happen again this year as we see players start to enter the lobby. Allegrissimo from the previous map, Hyok and worst HR player. So you're retaining, oh, maybe not. Still switching out. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Miles.
Yeah, it takes a moment to decide on rosters, get them in and out. We know how much these players love to join the lobby, maybe talk a little bit of crap, and head back out. But I think we might be set now. We do see the GLHF in chat from multiple members. So we're seeing it looks like Tuna, Hyok, Page, Forum, Window Life, Rectagon, Kama, and Decaton. That is the same roster for the United States as from yesterday on this pick.
Here we go. We're starting this one off. Cardinal Rave. One of my personal favorite maps in this pool, if not my personal favorite map in this pool. Absolute banger. Has a lot of meaning to me and some other people, I'm sure. But this one, pick-wise, it is, like you guys said, a little bit dangerous. Yes, Korea favored. But the United States set up a very decent team score for themselves up against Australia yesterday. And if Korea dared to pick this into them, it's clear that they are the confident team. But we have seen that backfire in previous picks. So it must be now. Once again, Korea, with this pick, they can't consolidate less breakpoints. They need to let this go through. They need to get themselves more points to even out the playing field. But with this intro coming through, a few early misses here from both sides, but only 2-1 in favor of the United States, with Window Life being the early miss, the highest performer yesterday up against Australia. So I'm willing to doubt that that miss is going to mean too much.
Trying to figure out what's going on here with Rectagon's screen.
Rectagon?
Little bit of lag. There we go. He is back.
Are.
So a little connection issue probably there. No big deal. It's all sorted. And it is the United States with the 3 full combos against 2 advantage. We'll see what Tuna and Page can do, but there is the drop from Hyok, Kama to trade as well as Decaton. And now Rectagon in the FC 1v1 against Forum, but the supporting combo of Tuna and Page is there to bring this score back their way, especially with the Kama Decaton double break.
Is there enough? These snaps are about to come through. One of the hardest parts of the map here to start this one off. We've got a few of it, but space streams, are there enough? Not enough to break down Rectagon. Window Life as well with that recovery. Keeping it in contention here for the United States, even if Korea are starting to establish a high enough combo. Worst a child player and Rectagon duking it out with the 1 versus 1. Fragrance of Page, Flying Tuna, and Hyok all establishing good enough combos to still keep that lead in that favor, but it's by a very small margin. We've got a little bit of time before the next difficult section comes through, with this slider spam section about to come through very, very soon. Mostly known to be the more comfortable part, but with Hard Rock, any minor slip-up might lead to a ginormous outcome.
No slip-ups yet from anyone in the lobby. Looking at those FCs on Forum and Rectagon. Look at that accuracy on Forum, over 99%. The only one in the lobby to do so. Big combos everywhere. It is a break from Flying Tuna, and that's going to give the USA a little bit of breathing room. Only 50k in it, and Hyok next to fall. It is 4 combos alive, Kama to break on that big aim pattern. Forum still holding a full combo, Rectagon still holding, and they get through the slider spam. And USA has 3 big combos against just 2 from South Korea, but 50k still the lead with half the map to go. This one quite long, lots of time in it still.
Indeed, plenty of time in it still. Rectagon on West Char player remain, and Window Life and Fragrance of Page also evening out themselves. Decaton's recovery is an outlier though. Enough to slowly gain this lead in favor of the United States, but there is plenty of time. We're soon going to be going back into another very brutal snap section here. Enough that might lead to catastrophe, but Wesley Child play misses just before the peak comes through. Is the timing just right for Korea? It is! A double miss from Rectagon on Window Life. Decaton left on his own. Fragrance of Page uncontested. Hyok as well. 500 combo with Gainey. Decaton also next to fall. United States have completely collapsed, and Fragrance of Page for Korea is still fighting fourth. 1/4 of the map left to go. Enough to maybe be the clutch factor to give them that win after very tenuous circumstances. This might just be enough.
The rookie on South Korea with ice in his veins, holding the lone combo in the lobby, 1,500 and growing into this ending. They'll lead 100,000 points and growing. He finally breaks, but did he do enough? He may just have, as he has Forum to have his back, he has Tuna to have his back, but the break does come through, and there is a little bit of time left in this. It's 100k, but Rectagon and Decaton are on the charge into the ending. I don't know if they're going to have enough time, though.
Needs to worry about a few of these ending misses. These double sections can trip some people up. It is common once the top lane next to go down. It's very, very close, but it doesn't seem like Korea are letting this slip away. Flying Tuna and Hyok's recovery is enough. With that miss from Rectagon, suppressing that fight. And Fragrance of Page's battle was enough. His fight was enough on Cardinal Rave, and it was enough to give South Korea a 3rd point on the board. So no second breakpoint consolidated, despite how dangerous this map seemed to have been. But it will be indeed Korea to take Cardinal Rave Hard Rock.
And look at how close that was. 131K. The smallest of margins here in this match can determine any given pick. The United States still clinging to that breakpoint lead, but as we said, you give these teams any little bit of room to breathe and they will just show up in your face like that. 4-1 becomes 4-3, and the United States' next pick could, in the world of a breakpoint for South Korea, mean the match gets tied up just like that.
Yeah, I mean, you give them an inch and they take a mile, and they are starting to claw it back. Once again, South Korea now just within 1 pick of the United States. But we still have that 1 breakpoint advantage, and the United States, as I mentioned, they still have a couple of mechanically focused picks that I think they have a pretty good advantage on. That DT4, no good Magia. That Hard Rock 1, bad for me. Both maps that are either stream flow aim for the Hard Rock or just 10.5 just alt brutal flow aim with a lot of finger control as well. Both picks that United States on paper should have an advantage on over South Korea. But we're going to see what they go for here because, once again, there's no straightforward picks left. I mean, you can just take it from their last pick. They decide to go for that highly volatile Hard Rock 2, and it blows up in their face. So I think if you're them, you need to have a really good pick here, and it's going to be that DT4. So we get that very high mechanical-oriented alt map in the DT4.
Always felt like United States was going to pick this map eventually. They've got some great scores on it, we know, on the leaderboards alone. And it just was a matter of time before we got to it here in the match. Of course, as we know, did drop this last night. Perhaps not their absolute best performances, but we know they're capable of even better. Yeah, boy. As you said, the maps just get so closely contested so fast in this matchup when there's only a couple of those early, clearly delineated options.
And I mean, Fragrance of Page, man, after that previous map, he would have to come in for a pick like this as well. And he is just absolutely on fire right now. I mean, going from the Hard Rock 2 into the Hard Rock 3, putting up insane performances on both. He has to start to become a factor for the United States now when thinking about their picks. But United States, last night against Australia, they got absolutely M-wrecked on this, with a high baseline score just kind of getting nuked on the top end. But for this, I think United States are going to feel pretty safe on this one, but worst HR player coming in, despite the tapping element to this pick, staying in the lobby. And that always brings up a question, I think, when you're United States.
Yeah, and you know, the worst HR player factor is so interesting, right? Because the narrative has so long been about him being quote-unquote bad at tapping, all that, but the guy FC's Blue Zenith in match. The guy, like, almost helped South Korea win Popipo last week. They were very close on that pick against this USA roster. So if he's in for a map like this, you gotta figure he's pretty confident that he's gonna be able to put up a meaningful score on it.
It's 217 BPM. 217 BPM. He can absolutely tap the finger control on this.
Well, we're getting into it. Amiya Kokoro, Hyok, Tuna, and Forum. Decaton, Rectagon, Window Life, and Utami clinging to the single breakpoint advantage, 4-3 lead. South Korea with the last 2 picks in a row, 1 breakpoint away from tying the match up and basically resetting the whole thing into a best of 5 with 4 picks left after this one. It is starting to get real.
It is indeed starting to get real. Amiya Kokoro coming in here for South Korea, his second appearance in this match. Coming in for no good Magia. A brutal aim and finger control double time test with loads of these sliders and a lot of really scary space bursts, most notably to look out for, particularly in these Hiai times. It feels like there's not a single part on this map where somebody could slip up, but especially in these Hiai times where the intensity ramps up to its max here. Rectagon with the early opening break here from United States, Decaton as well to join in those misses. Korea so far so good, only Hyuk to have gone down to drop first blood, joined by worst HR player, but it is traded by Utami. Window Life left on his own against 2 full combos of South Korea. Is there anybody going to miss? No! 2 full combos in favor of South Korea in this first Hiai time.
Umi Kokoro and Flying Tuna, long-standing members of these Korean rosters. So reliable, pick in and pick out, year in and year out. It's going to be Umi Kokoro to break, but it's traded. It's Window Life to fall. And now Tuna with the Seoul FC in the lobby, a third of the way through. There are recoveries being built up by Decatur, Rectagon, and Utami, though.
Oh.
This lead is not safe. If Tuna breaks, the United States will have an entry, and it's multiple misses. Umi Kokoro and Hyuk to fall, as well as Utami.
These two top members of Korea not able to hold on to the combo, but it's still Flying Tuna left on his own. Where's the chop play with that recovery as well? So many combos to go down. Rectagon, Window Life, Hyuk, and Kokoro and Tuna all down. Where's the chop play left on his own? Up against Decatur. But this 148,000 score lead is still there. Is Decatur's combo going to be enough to gain it? Where's the chop player staring daggers down at Decatur? Come at me. Come test me on a map like this. May have missed at the start, but the recovery is still imminent. That accuracy is still immensely high. Nerves at its maximum. This map, again, characteristically able to destroy you if your nerves are not on your side. And with the guitars that actually come through, the controls a little bit more present. 1/3 as well activated here. Was a chop player that was going to fall? It's rapidly traded by Decatur. Rectagon, Window Life, still have two combos over Flying Tuna's recovery left on his own. And this guitar solo session has not tripped up the rest. It's slowly gaining for the United States.
Slowly, though, and time is not in the United States' favor. They're going to run out of combo on this map if South Korea doesn't find some more breaks. It's Decatur, well, Window Life and Utami both go down. And now it is only Rectagon. Meanwhile, you have Flying Tuna, you have Forum, and the map...
Wait, it's okay.
It must have already been over? I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
This lead is still strong on the side of the USA, but we have to wait and see. It is over. We have seen on the update, it is South Korea to still take them out, but it doesn't change the fact that Flying Tuna and Wesley Child Play's performance were instrumental in taking that takeaway. Decatur was so close to matching that, but after that collapse in that final KI time, the nerves got to the USA, and that was enough to give South Korea a break point to make this 4-4, gentlemen. It is a best of 5 in set 1.
Hold on. Okay, so we actually did have a player disconnect, but going off of the score at the time of disconnection, it is still a South Korea victory if you just pause Hyuk's score there. So it is going to be a victory for South Korea on this one, but if United States did take that back at the end with the score at disconnect, it would have been really unfortunate for them. However, we've still got 4-4 now, all tied up.
Hyuk was kicked out of the lobby?
I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what happened, but his score is being counted at the time that he left the lobby regardless, which is giving South Korea the point. That's the long and short of it. The details and the minutiae don't really matter. So it's 4-4. What did we say, Miles?
Okay,
we saw a 4-1 lead last night evaporate like water in the desert into nothingness. And it has happened here again tonight. This last time it was in the United States' favor. This time it works against them. And it is South Korea that has brought this back. There are 2 picks left, theoretically, per team before a potential tiebreaker scenario. And not a lot that looks great for either team. It's going to be South Korea taking the timeout, I think not entirely surprisingly here, as they want to gather their wits and make sure they get their best pick, because this is their opportunity now to take the 5-4 lead. And hey, guess what else happened? You know, this was the same story as last time these two teams played. South Korea getting the break point back, taking the lead, getting a break point to win. I feel like I'm getting deja vu all over again in so many different ways.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting deja vu to the freaking Australia-United States match last night. I mean, you could argue both of those are, like, almost upsets. The team you expect to be getting out to an early lead, falling down 1-4, and then just clawing it back through break points. Just unbelievable parallels to be drawn to that match. But now, here we go. South Korea getting to pick once again. They have a lot of options here. They've kind of making a lot of headway into some skill sets that they needed to take hold of in order to win this match. They've won a couple tech picks now, which puts Nomad 4 on the table, one of the hardest maps in the map pool. I think that's something that they could look towards picking. They also have the anti-mod available to them in the free mod too, but that could be a little bit of a trap. Picking a free mod map in the United States, they get to put their comfort mods on as well. And then you also have 3 aim maps. 4, actually. I mean, I count Flower. It depends if you count Bad for Me, I think, as an aim map. That's more of a flow aim scream map. So,
yeah.
So we got Sky at Twilight, Flower Dance, and Back to the Future for aim. You've got Organics Decay for tech. And then if you want to go for the anti-mod, you've got Yuminiki Mega Mix. But one pick that I think nobody has really wanted to touch is that No Mod 3 Unravel. I'm wondering if they would ever consider that in this match.
Unravel's gotta be a map that you last pick, if anything. It's just an emergency scenario, right? Nobody wants to opt into a map that has a difficulty spike that goes through the roof the way that one does. You could use that diff spike to connect the Transcontinental Railroad. I don't think that anybody really wants that pick very badly, and Korea saying definitely not here at this point in time. It's going to be the No Mod 4. We're going to get the lengthy, challenging tech pick out of the South Korean selection here.
I was originally a little bit suspect of them picking this type of map going into this match, but they've really making headway on the tech in this matchup. They've won a bunch of close picks, but nonetheless they've won. They've had that little edge over the United States, and on a map as just relentless as this one, 4 minutes and 22 seconds, despite being a cut version. And I'd almost draw parallels to this and the Hard Rock 2 in that you just have nowhere to breathe. Maybe not because of the precision in this one, just the overall just like amount of difficult tech patterns in this. There isn't one in particular you could look at as being the one to mess you up, but there's just so much in this map that'll get you.
Yeah, the entire difficulty of this map, right, is really the fact that it's so unrelenting. I mean, we heard it directly from Dada on the Map Pool feedback channel. If this map was shorter, it would simply not be hard enough to fit in this pool, but it's the length and the consistent difficulty that does it. And the South Korean team feels like they are so consistently strong on this skill set. The control aim, the slider tech, really working in their favor. United States, though, man, tech overlords, right? A team that has historically been so good at this skill set time and time again. Another pick where either team can just do amazing things.
I mean, one thing I mentioned earlier on in this match is United States, there's this little perceived difference in skill cap, I think, between the teams, where on South Korea, you know that you're going to get great scores out of Tuna and Worst HR Player on a tech map like this, but it's, can those two make up for the difference that you would perceive the bottom half of the United States would have over the bottom half of South Korea on this map? And if those top players on the United States were to match Tuna and Worst HR Player on this, would that cause them to win the pick for a breakpoint? That's just my concern for Korea on this. But you know, they won last couple tech picks in this matchup, so all the confidence in the world for them on this pick.
Yeah, all the confidence in the world only goes so far as we enter into the unrelenting abyss of life form disintegration ray. It is Hyok, it is Amamiya Kokoro, it is Flying Tuna, it is Forum, Takedo Decade, Window Life, and Rectagon trying to see if they can get the breakpoint back for the United States after losing 3 picks in a row. They don't want to give South Korea the 5-4 advantage, but South Korea might just reach out and take it regardless.
South Korea's comeback is imminent. They are hungry for this one. But this one seems to be very much a careful toss-up. A test of not only your incredible tech, slider, and mobility, but your fatigue. This map is unrelenting, 4 minutes long with 0 breaks and 0 room to breathe. A lot of instances throughout the map that do have a little bit of a spike in difficulty and a little bit of a cooldown in difficulty, but this map, regardless, will not let you go, will not let you stop running. And so far, some early misses already established here from both sides. United States losing Winter Life's combo with South Korea. Recent miss there from Flying Tuna. Early miss from Worst HR Player and Hyok. So the lead is going to be established in favor of the United States. Throughout this first quarter of the map, it is still 3 full combos from Takedo, Decaden, and Rectagon to keep that lead going for the USA, with Winter Life's recovery not too far away either. Decaden!
Kane does fall. It's traded, though, as Worst HR Player goes down. Takedo, Rectagon both make it through the massive slider. Kaiten falls again, and it is all hopes for South Korea pinned on Amamiya Kokoro as the double combo from Rectagon and Takedo is still there to make this lead just a little larger, but not anymore. Down goes Rectagon, down goes Window Life as well. Amamiya Kokoro still holding, Takedo still holding, but it is Hyok, it is Tuna to build up the backing combo alongside Forum. As Amamiya Kokoro finally breaks, will the slack be picked up for South Korea? The barest of margins between the teams on this pick as Takedo falls.
Still incredibly tenuous, but that miss from Takedo is going to aid in the favor of South Korea. Down goes Amamiya Kokoro. Is that going to be enough? Window Life gets the trade, so enough for South Korea to still keep that lead going. Slider streams are going to be implemented into this, so maybe some breaks on that one. Maybe the tapping might hit you a little bit, but it's still Flying Tuna and Shop to keep the combos going. Whereas a chart player may drop, and that's going to be a little bit favorable for the USA, but you still need more. You need more blood to spill for Korea. Decaden and Rectagon are still putting in so much effort, but not enough to contest either of these combos of Korea here. Shock and Flying Tuna still tearing these streams apart, tearing the tech sections to pieces. Shock and Flying Tuna particularly. Normally in the World Cup last year, rivals between the Philippines and United States, between Philippines and South Korea. Both of these players were particularly strong on a map reminiscent of this in Valhalla in the semifinals, and they are showing their prominence now and today. Still holding on to those combos, and into the final third of the map, the gain score is still going in the favor of South Korea, especially with the full collapse on the United States. It's just Decaden left on his own. Bancho missed, not to deceive me, but it's still 1,000 combo for Decaden, but not enough to take down the combos of South Korea.
It is Hyok, it is Flying Tuna, it is worst HR player. South Korea coming into their own in this match in the way that I think we all expected them to eventually. The early underperformance belied what South Korea was capable of on a map pool like this. Flying Tuna does finally break, but it is only a quarter of the map left to go. It is still Hyok with a 1,600 combo. It is Forum backing him up at 900. And you look at the United States' side, they have Decaden and they have Rectagon at not quite 500. It's not going to be nearly enough to bring this one back. Will this be 4 points on the trot for South Korea and their first lead in this grand final? It is looking ever more certain that that's going to be the case.
Fortune never always favors the same people, Aaron. The comeback was in favor of the United States last time, but this time Korea taking charge of that narrative themselves. Now from 4-1 down to 5-4 up. It is becoming one more pick before Korea can secure tiebreaker, maybe even finally take the crown. But we still got a little bit left to go. Even with this collapse coming through towards the end, it does not appear that the United States have much to fight with. Valiant efforts here from Rectagon, 800, 900 combo now and gaining, but this score is too little. And as the stamina starts to collapse from the remaining players of the lobby, there is just nothing left for either team to really battle with, and that's exactly what you want if you're South Korea. 200,000 score in their favor as the map starts to finally hit its triumphant close. The space stream admirably hit from Rectagon, but the rest of his team cannot help him out in that endeavor. South Korea finally take the lead.
It's the performance you expected out of this South Korea team on a map like that. Organic deconstruction of the United States roster. And man, this match has been flipped on its head.
United States instantly going for that Hard Rock 1, but I'd just like to say, South Korea, I was mistaken. That was an extremely high baseline performance from them on that pick. Amamiya Kokoro holding on to that combo early. It felt like when he broke, everyone was there to support him, and they just kept running along with that. Just overall complete domination on that one, and a complete domination of the tech skill set in this matchup for South Korea. And they still have so much aim on the board for them. But for now, United States, they need a point back to stop the bleeding. South Korea, 4 picks straight. They go for bad for me. They lost this one last night of some heroics from Box and Emrek. But United States, they're gonna like their chances on this one against South Korea. They've won all the streams so far in this matchup. So far, there's nobody in the lobby for them.
It was Rectagon, Decaden, Window Life, and Pez for the USA yesterday. So I think safe to expect a similar roster here today. South Korea, Tuna, Ferguson Page, maybe Karcher or Doomsday Fanboy. Worst HR player actually could probably play this 200 BPM. We know he can. We know he can stream this, and he has impeccable flow aim. So we'll see. Could be a Karcher map though. Very, very good flow aim player. We will wait and see. United States, they're just missing. USA says, "Yep, Hard Rock 1, and we'll be back in a few minutes, guys. Get some snacks, get some drinks. We'll be back. Don't worry about us."
This is a really scary roster from South Korea. Karcher has been a little bit quiet this match. Was one of their star players in the last few years, but if there is one type of map for him to activate and really stick the dagger into the United States, it would be that Hard Rock Space Stream flow aim. He maps it, he farms it, he can do everything with it. And worst HR player, notably, Blue Zenith Hard Rock last year, we know he's got the streaming for this, and Fragrance of Page has been so clutch in this matchup. But United States, we've seen what they can do in the clutch. They've got that roster locked and loaded. Rectigon, Utami, Window Life, and Decaden have something to say about this South Korean comeback, and they're going to try to equalize this once again at 5 apiece on this.
And this is, to my eyes, in much the way we maybe saw what felt like a must-win a few points ago for South Korea, this is a must-win for the United States, down 5-4. You lose this, it's 6-4, and it's match points for South Korea. You don't want that to happen if you're the USA. So you are locking in for this pick. You are saying, Rectigon, we need you in this moment. Drop that 843K again, and we will file in behind you if that's what it takes to win this pick. South Korea, though, some amazing flow aim players, some amazingly clutch players so far in this match, putting themselves in a spot where a breakpoint sends them to match points, nay, to tournament points, if they can convert a breakpoint here and continue this remarkable run of momentum in this match.
Stakes could not be higher here. But if there's any one person who is the man you must look at, it is Rectigon, and always will be on a map like this. He was almost instrumental enough to take down Australia on this map yesterday, but just barely slipped away over a performance from Emrek, who, I mean, I feel like is the only player who you could foresee matching a player like Rectigon on this. But South Korea, like we've said, so capable. And with Hard Rock applied as well, they have shown themselves to be a daunting non-Tavern Mechanics Hard Rock roster. As we get into the first KI time, the spacing of these streams starting to get very high, very spaced, but still pretty consistent here until a few misses from Utami and Window Light to come through. Decaden also to join other misses. Rectigon missed earlier on as well. It's a full collapse from the United States. No established combo available here to fight back Korea. Mostly Char play may miss, same with Fragrance of Page, but it's still Hyuk left on his own with incredible accuracy to keep that lead going on the favor of South Korea.
As all eyes on Hyuk at this point, 750 combo in, 1/3 of the way through this pick, holding on to the FC still. United States building up, the other members of South Korea building up as we head into the next guy. The spacing gets bigger again. Who will hold and who will break in this section? First to fall is Fragrance of Page, but it's traded by Window Life and Decay. United States not going to gain any ground here.
The USA are starting to crumble. The recoveries here are not going to be enough. You still have Hyuk on this combo. And as the spacing starts to increase, it still remains to be Hyuk's full combo to be the ginormous, ever so tall wall to block the potential USA have. Whereas a Char player combo might not be as high, but enough to closely contest Utami. Rectigon left on his own, but the peak is coming very soon.
We pass the halfway mark of the map. We get a little bit of quiet before it is full tilt into the last third. There goes there goes Decay, and there goes Karcher. It is Hyuk, it is Fragrance of Page, it is Rectigon and Window Life. There goes Fragrance of Page as well. All eyes still remain on Hyuk, the new member for South Korea coming in from the Philippines to their roster to shore it up into the end of the last hard part of the map. He finally falls, but going down as well as he's finally on the team. It's a full last reset. He's a full lobby reset, 860K lead for South Korea, and they might just be doing it here.
The collapse is imminent from every single person in the lobby, but for Korea, that's enough. That's all that they need. As the peak of the streams trip Rectigon, so do the hopes of USA to even out the playing field and prevent match point for Korea. May hope still not be destroyed almost entirely, but South Korea have established an incredible, instrumental breakpoint. Enough to take themselves that one map away from taking down the 6-year reign of the USA. One more map, and it's over.
And the options are there, but look at that score. Hyuk, 795K, top in the lobby, and just... man, it is a dagger through the heart of the entire United States. The carry performance that South Korea needed, just like Emrek did to them yesterday. It is Hyuk here today. And South Korea has a match point, has 2 match points, and has 1 pick of their own to try to convert and close this out. Where do they go? There are options left in this pool, Miles. Where is the best choice, their last pick of this match?
Well, one thing for certain, they are out of what they've been picking as of late. No more tech in the pool. They still have the aim, which they were successful on earlier. Free mod 1, DT1, or no mod 1, make your choice on that. You've got more aim control in Unravel. You have anti-mod. It almost feels like every map in this pool could be a pick for South Korea remaining. And that's what my worry for the United States was coming into this match. They really needed to convert some tech picks in their favor, because once they ran out of mechanics, it felt like there was just not too much left in the pool for them to go. They had to take that contested skill set. Now they need to win a skill set that Korea is going to be really good at, but they're going to go for Unravel.
Oh my god.
They are picking Unravel. They're picking one of the most brutal maps that I've seen be mapped in a tournament, the custom map by Aishiteru. A mapper who's very well known for making some very crazy alt maps. I think anyone who's followed tournaments in the last few years has seen his map of First Death. This map is more brutal than that. You have just some absolutely insane flow aim patterns with brutal aim control. And there's one player in this lobby who you could look at to potentially be consistent on that. He's sitting there in the bottom right for Korea, but other than that, I don't know who else can play this.
Oh my word. Guys. It all hinges on Unravel.
The biggest moment, with everything on the line. The United States' streak on the line. South Korea picking into them. One of the most brutal, in just raw difficulty spike maps that you're ever going to see in an OWC pool. Oh, man.
Oh my gosh.
The diff spike. We gotta talk about the diff spike, right? Who
Yes.
if anybody hits that? It's Forum, and who else? I don't know.
I sincerely don't know. This map is just absolutely brutal, but you know, United States back up against the wall. This is when they're most strongest. This team, just remember, they have not lost a grand final in 6 years. If they have one last dying gasp, it would have to be a win on this map to force your final pick. Have at least one more pick to force the tiebreaker that they looked so good on last night with multiple 2K combos from Rectigon and Utami. But they have to win this one, and they are staring down an absolutely insane aim control roster. Flying Tuna, Hyok, Allegrissimo, and worst HR player. It's Decaden, Hydrogen Bomb, the rookie Pez coming in for this one to join Utami on the side of United States.
And it's South Korea with all of the momentum in this match. We talked about the United States having that runaway freight train analogy, but it's South Korea that have won 5 points in a row. The United States took that 4-1 lead. South Korea has won every map since then, and they only need to win one more. Runaway freight train, the United States may have been at one time, but South Korea has taken over that title. They are the Amtrak of this OSU World Cup 2024. They are on their way.
That's not the best comparison. Amtrak service is less reliable than Flying Tuna service has been for South Korea in OSU World Cup, and I know he wants to close this out right here.
Here we are, into Unravel. A pick that I think all of us questioned immensely. But the United States always have potential, and that's the hope you need to inject into them. If they can pull magic, if there is any team that has done what we have considered impossible, it is the USA. It is the USA. It needs to be now. And a map so volatile, a map so difficult to really comprehend. Who could take this? It becomes nothing short of absolute cinema. Are you ready, Aaron?
I am. I have never possibly been more ready than in this moment, and it is Rectigon falling, perhaps not quite so ready himself. Decaden trades as well. It's for him to find the first break for South Korea. But he's the player that you're going to rely on. You're going to watch his screen a lot on a map like this. But it is Tuna, it is Allegrissimo, it is Hyok still holding, it is Utami, and it is the rookie Pez for the United States. to keep them in touch in the early goings here. You've got to stay close. Whoever is in the lead going into that gigantic div spike is going to have a humongous advantage because everybody is missing 20 times in that section. And right now, that lead on the side of South Korea by about 45,000 points.
Still gaining, but Pez is to go down. One of the bigger combos that you have to stay.
Two.
Utami joins in the misses too. 3 full combos still solidified here for South Korea. As YZ Sharp play and that recovery enough to contest Decade and Rectagon. And Utami misses once again. There is no combo, but there's a double miss from South Korea. Hope again injected. Allegrisimo misses. YZ Sharp player though is there on the recovery. It is still very tenuous as the break is shown, Aaron.
Allegrisimo is holding, in fact. So he is alongside Forum with those combos. Rectagon falls once more. It is Decade, the lone combo for the United States, trying to keep them in touch in this map. But that lead already over 100,000 points, and the map does not get any easier. Allegrisimo Forum going to build up the lead as best they can.
Here we go. This is the moment. This is where magic needs to be seen. Allegrisimo misses, Shock misses, YZ Sharp play still holds the fort. Utami is left on his own. The rest of USA are crumbling. YZ Sharp play though goes down. Same with Flying Tuna. Utami is on his own. Can he hit these slider jumps? If he hits all of these, this could be the difference here. Utami is down. It's 178,000 as the rest of the lobby crumbles with Yock, the only one with a combo to stand.
How long can the new member of the South Korean team keep the combo up? They have the 200,000 point lead. He falls, the whole lobby falls, there is no combo anywhere. We are 1/4 of a map away from a new OWC champion here. South Korea moments away from achieving what is so long felt impossible. And they are barely hanging on with everything they've got as the United States fights to stay alive.
It is so thin on the line. It is so desperate. It must be something. You need miracles. Decaden, Rectagon, what do you have left? The lead is still so high, but the time is ticking. The clock is going down. Rectagon falls, Pez falls, and South Korea will not back down. Hyok and Allegrisimo may miss, Decaden may miss, but it doesn't seem like it may be enough. The spike is there, the sliders are coming, and YZ Sharp player, who else is the one to hold? Watch as the USA dynasty crumbles to the ground, and all that is left is a throne to claim for South Korea as theirs. Dynasty destroyers, curse deleters. This is South Korea for the first time in 11 years. Your 2024 Osu World Cup champions!
7 days ago, South Korea proved that gods can bleed. And tonight, they have proven that gods can be killed. South Korea end the dynasty of the United States. It is their crown. It is their championship. It is their throne. Down go the United States, and South Korea will be the first team to emerge victorious from an Osu World Cup since 2017, not named the United States.
It is done. It's done.
It's been such a long time coming for this Korean roster. 2023, 2022, 2019. 3 times the United States has bested this Korean roster in the grand finals. And now, the 4th time is the charm for them. They stand atop the mountain, and they are now our victors.
Oh my gosh, South Korea can finally look back at their old gods of 2013 and go to let them know that the new era of South Korea are finally, after years and years and years of heartbreak and torture, falling to the same dynasty over and over again, they can finally let them know that South Korea are once again on top of the world.
What a roster they built. What a team they put together. This South Korean team not to be denied. On your screen, the 8 players who made it happen. At long last, kingdoms have risen, kingdoms have fallen since we last saw a new team victorious in the World Cup. And now, at long last, we may all breathe. Once more, it is a new day in the Osu standard world as a new champion has finally emerged. And man, what a match to do it. The 7-5 from 4-1 down. 7-4. With 6 points in a row.
Oh my word.
Momentum swung maybe harder than any pendulum I have ever seen. 6 points straight. We talk about how strong USA is with momentum, but how about that Korean comeback? They were looking down and then just 6 straight. What can you do against that?
I'm speechless. You know, it's I'm speechless, man. I don't know about you guys, but I'm shaking immensely. I feel like I've been waiting for this moment to happen for like ever, since the very inception of me being a part of this, and I'm sure for all of you guys as well, it feels insane. You know, pinch me, you know what I mean? Guys, you were all here. We were all here. Where were you when South Korea finally rose up to conquer what seemed to be an unkillable dynasty? It is finally over. It is done. Like some legends have said already this year, welcome to the new era.
Until next year, I guess.
Oh, look at you with your patriotism.
I'm not even talking about that. I mean, we had one team. Who's to say that Australia can't do it next year? Because now we have our podium set in stone. South Korea winning, with the United States placing second, Australia third. That is the Osu World Cup 2024.
What else is there to say, people? What else is there to really say? We are essentially right now waiting on whether or not we're going to be seeing a tiebreaker showcase, which I believe we will be. It's a good thing that we got to see tiebreaker with stakes yesterday between Australia and USA. Now we're going to be able to see it with a little bit of light and a little less stress in our veins, gentlemen.
Yeah, a no stakes tiebreaker. It's not the same, but it lets you enjoy the map. It lets you enjoy the song a little bit more for what it is, and it lets us have a little bit of a moment to digest what we have just seen, to think about what has just happened. I know I speak for a huge number of American, especially Osu tournament players, spectators, staffers who got into the tournament scene because of the United States beginning their dynasty all the way back in 2015. Who could have known that it would be a decade of near interrupted dominance other than 2017 before we saw another champion than the USA? And for myself and for many of those members, this feels almost surreal to see a team emerge that really felt destined to win from the outset. Poland in 2017 felt like a shocking upset. South Korea in 2024 feels like they reached out and grabbed this tournament and would not let anyone else in.
Yeah, and I mean, I can definitely speak about that. Like, I was in middle school when the United States first won OWC in 2015. Now, 2024, I'm about to graduate college. I've only seen them lose one time since then. And now, just as you mentioned, just feels surreal to see it. United States finally toppled.
It is the most surreal thing, right? You know, you guys been on your anecdotes. You know, the first time I myself got to really properly tune in to an Osu World Cup live was in 2018, when my own country were inches away from taking down the USA. And in fact, doing so, forcing bracket reset initially, but falling towards the end. I had never ever seen the USA lose their championship since then, and we've come full circle, no pun intended, right? You know, I'd gone from just a viewer to now getting more, growing with the community, growing more, finding my spark as a caster, and finally being able to be that voice along with you guys to make that happen. It really does feel incredible as your past kind of flashes before your eyes and you remember it's been that long. It's been that long. And now we see it. And it's time for Operation Zenith 4 as a token of celebration and as a final labor of love before this OS World Cup concludes.
And what an incredible scene this map is. Of course, we got to see it last night in a meaningful situation, and that score from Emrek almost doing the job was incredible. But here we will ride and we will enjoy. And man, just to give credit, of course, everyone involved in this map, it is a laundry list, but all of the work that went into the song and the storyboard and the video, all of the art and the direction and the map itself, incredible work done by so many members as throughout the entire World Cup. And just for us to get to see this a couple of times this weekend and to give this map all of the love and respect that it deserves is a really incredible feeling.
And I'll read out that laundry list of people for you because this was truly a massive project mapped by Mir, Singh, Halia, Funny, and Toybot. So we've got a massive amount of mappers, hit sounds by Midori John. And then just for the illustrators, we've got probably around a dozen of them. We've got Dreamsiety, Arisu, Red CXCA, Pineapple, Boolmaster Flex, Vulnerable, Nyanta, Nafi, Copperteen, Encryption, Sakura 06 organizing all of that. And I mean, just what a massive project this was. Just absolutely insane tiebreaker we got here.
And the credit goes to so many more people than just that. I do want to say real quick while we're crediting people on this map, it is a quintuply longer list of individuals involved in the entire project as a whole. If you got to watch the map pool showcase last week, they talked about just how many people were involved in this World Cup, from the map pooling team, the QA, the play testers, the mappers themselves, referees, commentators, organizers, statisticians. The number of people that go into making this tournament what it is unbelievable. And I just want to give, as a member of that team and very grateful to be here year in and year out, the biggest just congratulatory note to everyone who makes the OSU World Cup happen year in and year out, all of the World Cups, in fact, because, of course, we do have 7 key World Cups starting its signups in less than a week. There are so many people that go into this project, and they deserve a big, big round of applause for everything that they do to make this happen.
Yeah, end of the day, OWC is meant to be a labor of love and a labor of celebration for the year concluding for each respective mode, not only just in standard, but also in a myriad of different modes. And so many unsung heroes, you know, we ourselves, gentlemen, may be on the front line and being able to really be the voice of what's in front of us now to the rest of the world, but there are so many people behind the scenes who work, you know, to the rest of the world, sometimes often thankless roles that work insanely hard to just bring this to life. And it's magic, you know. The running theme, the running meme that we've seen throughout this whole World Cup is that it's been absolute cinema. Say it with me, guys. Raise your hands with me. The same position like the guy on the meme. It is absolute cinema. It's been a movie. It's been an absolute treat. And I think for me in particular, I'm sure for everyone else here, it's been, more importantly, an absolute honor to be a part of this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the World Cup, it always just feels like the most important tournament every year. Like, we have lots of big community tournaments, but nothing comes close to the intensity that the World Cup brings. And we have had an absolutely amazing tournament that I hope everyone in the chat enjoyed as much as we did, because I know all 3 of us in here had an absolute blast watching every single match.
Yeah, man. I don't know what else to add, honestly. Like, I'm just here not believing that I'm here right now, you know. I'm thinking that I'm still dreaming at this point. But yeah, just being able to enjoy this tiebreaker being played, enjoying some of the best players on the planet, just, you know, after such an intense, such a high stakes scenario, just have fun on such an incredible Camellia OS original, you know, coming back to our roots, having our first ever OS original be UParts in 2020, and now have Camellia return for 2024 to bring again an absolute banger of a song alongside the quintrifecta of mappers to bring this project to life alongside all of the members of production. Could not be more thankful.
And we get into the last few moments of this map. I just want to give a brief shout out running down the standings a little bit here, of course, because we don't have a World Cup without all of the teams that participate, all the players that participate as well. And it is a who's who this year. South Korea, United States, Australia, of course, top 3. Germany in 4th, Russia making their way into top 6 again alongside the United Kingdom in that 5th, 6th spot. Canada, Chile, China, Hong Kong, Philippines, Poland rounding out that top 12. You've got teams like Norway, you've got Sweden, Turkey, Ukraine in that top 16, and on down from there. The list goes on and on. I can't go through all of them. It's 50, 60 something teams this year, but you are all appreciated, and we applaud all of your performance in this tournament year in and year out. And thank you to the teams as well for making this tournament what it is, one more year in and one more year in the books.
Yeah, thank you for the players. Thank you to everyone who's watching. We've said our plenty of thanks to the staff, but thank you again to all of the staff who just do so much work. All of us just do it because we hacking love the game, and I think we can all say that, you know, we can all speak for each other in that regard. But without the players, this tournament wouldn't be as great as it is. Without the staff, the tournament wouldn't be as great as it is. And of course, without the viewers, without everyone watching, be it in watch parties, be it on the current stream, be it with your friends, be it even in some other areas of the world, regardless of where it is, without you, OWC would not be here, and we won't be able to witness magic cinema like this grand final, like history being rewritten.
That closes the book.
It's done.
On another year of the World Cup cycle. The OSU Standard World Cup 2024 podium displayed before you. The winners, South Korea, dropping the United States to 2nd place for the first time since 2017. And in 3rd place, reprising their role in that 3rd step on the podium, is Australia. Congratulations to all of them. Congratulations to South Korea on this momentous win. Shiba, Miles, it has been a pleasure on this journey with you this evening. It has been a pleasure on this journey with you throughout this entire World Cup and this entire year. To everyone out there, thank you for being here with us tonight and throughout this year of OS World Cups. As mentioned, 7 Key starts up pretty soon. It's a never-ending cycle here in the OSU tournament community. So be ready to enjoy some more World Cup action from the Mania side of things in not all that much time. But for now, from the OSU Standard casters, from the World Cup, from everyone here that makes this possible, it's a congratulations to South Korea. It is a thank you once more to everyone. And it is a good night. Until next time, we'll see you on the other side. Sayonara for now.
See you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.